Okay, I ran across this query today and I thought you'd be interested in it, so here we go. This is a query, well, this is a pared down version of a query that runs several times a second. So I had to do a few things to it, but today we're focusing on OR versus IF. Now, generally speaking, OR expands a query, or makes the query optimizer do more work, because the optimizer has to come in and check and see, okay, is this true or is this true? It's got to evaluate each statement. Whereas if it hits the first true one, it can just go with that. In this particular case, what we're looking at is the sum of sales for a particular business ID, and we can get that per, in the original query it was per hour, per day, per week, or per month. So you've got these different intervals that you can use. Let's say that we're passing in interval of a month, then it'll go through, it'll evaluate this part of the where clause and say, oh, that's not true, and it'll go to this one. That only happens when I'm filming. Sorry about that. So we know that OR is something that we really need to get rid of, and the way, if you read this out loud, it kind of comes across naturally. Okay, select the sum, where the business ID, and okay, so the interval is this or the interval is that. So if the interval, well wait, if it comes naturally to us. It really should be in an if statement, and that way you've got a nice clean select sum from orders, where the interval is, it'll say, is it a week? No. So else, if interval is month, it'll come down here, and very simple, very easy. The code is easier to read, I think. It's more compact. Up here you got all these, that's one of my big pet peeves, is bunches of parentheses, and especially if the code's all flattened to the left like this. But anyway, so we can demonstrate, even with this little bitty result set, that that the other is better than the one. To make it fair, we've got dbcc free proc cache before each one. That'll clear out the data from memory, right, so that it doesn't load it up here and then it gets to just leap on the preloaded memory down here, data down here. Okay, so our execution plan's on, we run. Remember, the first one is our OR. I'm about to point at the screen now and say, see here where the OR is? And then the second query is our if-then. And 56%, 44%, not the hugest of difference, but it really does make a huge difference when you're running it several times a second, and especially on a bigger result set. Now, notice, by the way, you're going to look and say, well, hey, the execution plans aren't really all that different. No, you're not changing the way the data is read from the table itself. What you're doing is letting the optimizer do as little work as it needs to, as little work as it can. So the moral of the story really is, ORs are bad. They expand the amount of work that the optimizer has to do. Ifs are good. So that's about it.